We're here today with Tom Fowler, a longtime member of our congregation, who's going to share some history with us about our fellowship, our current campus, and a little bit about what's ahead of us. So thank you for joining us, Tom.
Glad to be here.
Could you start by telling me about how you and Daisy first became involved with the fellowship?
Okay, we had two young sons, and this was in an era where most kids were in Sunday school somewhere, and we didn't want our boys to feel left out, so we were searching for a church that we could start and not having much success. Daisy was teaching with Cinda Lewis, and she mentioned our frustration one day, and Cinda said, "Well, it's right under your nose on Robin Hood Road." So she pointed us to the fellowship in the old building we had years ago. And so we found what our children needed and also found what we needed.
And where was that old building?
It's a farther in town, a small house with a added sanctuary.
So what year was that you became involved?
Early 70s.
Early 70s. Okay. So when did plans begin to emerge for a larger space?
Well, as I said, we were operating out of a small house with a garage and apartment, and we had a wonderful sanctuary addition thanks to Eunice Benton. Um, it was a wonderful space, but it was not big enough. So we were doing two services and still parking all over the neighborhood. So it was obvious that we needed a bigger space.
Mhm. And so how did you go about finding this location?
Well, Helen Cavorcier was the person that headed the implementation committee. Her task was to find a piece of property that we could obtain. She moved out of town, and that job fell to myself and Susan Jones, and it morphed into the building design committee. Um, we surveyed the membership. They said they wanted to be in the middle of town. So Susan found a piece of property in town close to Bishop McGinnis High School. And when we presented that to the fellowship, they practically threw rotten tomatoes at us. They said, well, that was only in theory that we wanted to be in the middle of town. In reality, we want to be close to where we are. So they had lied to us, and that was a good lesson. So Susan also found the property that we have. And so it was not too far to move, and also just a wonderful space. And we were able to purchase it.
Okay. And what year was that? Do you recall?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, Gosh, I don't want to misspeak.
That's all right. We'll find it.
It
So
was in the last century.
in the last century. Well, that's good. That's good. So it was basically you and Susan Jones who found this spot, and then that was accepted by the congregation.
That's right. The congregation liked it, and a local family owned it, and we negotiated with them. Eunice and Arnold Gelbin were the main negotiators. I went along just so there would be at least one local boy in the group.
Uh-huh.
And we were able to negotiate and finance the purchase of this property. Then we realized we needed more, and they sold us an additional acre. And then, just through pure luck, we were able to acquire the Robin Hood Road house and additional property on Robin Hood at a very good price from the volunteer fire department. So we were fortunate to end up with the footprint that we have.
Yes. So then the next step was designing and architects and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Tell me about that process.
Well, we interviewed well, in the meantime, Warren and Susan Jones moved away, and Jan Hersey came on board as my co-chair for building design. And that worked well. I was building contractor. Jan was a writer,
Mhm.
and we had members that had an eye for the aesthetic, and we had Marjorie Gelman to keep us on task. So it was a good collaboration.
Mhm.
And we interviewed a lot of architectural firms. A Unitarian church is a plum assignment for a lot of architects, so we've had a lot of interest.
Why is that?
Well, it's a chance to be Frank Lloyd Wright Jr., I guess you might say.
Hmm.
Uh, it's a more creative assignment than an office building, that's for sure. So we settled on Walter Robb's, a solid local firm, and we thought we were ready to go. But the membership had voted to proceed. So Jan and I took it to the board for a gut check, and they told us to put it on the shelf for a year, which was a questionable process, but it was a good decision. And during that year, we got organized with the capital campaign and the other things we needed to do. But more importantly, in the meantime, Randy Henning left that firm and hung out his shingle as his own practice. And so we got a divorce from David Walter and gave the project to Randy. And so we had an experienced architect with a new practice, and we had his full attention.
Hmm.
And he gave us more than we paid for.
And how did that process interact with the congregation? Were they involved with the architect in
Very
design?
much. His first phase was a schematic in which he just blocked out our various needs, and he not only he listened to everyone and did a good job of assessing what our needs were. So his master plan that he provided gave us what we needed for Sunday morning, for RE, for administrative.
Yeah.
So the
So
plan is still valid.
it is. I know there were some somewhat unique aspects of that original design uh, that have not been completed yet. Would you talk about that a little bit?
Well, his master plan met all of our needs. And then we asked him to carve out phase one, in which he would give double square footage to Sunday morning, RE, and administrative. And that met our needs well, but it also allowed a capital campaign that had something for everyone.
And I think I've heard that there was originally a chapel proposed, or
Yes, the master plan features a permanent sanctuary behind the fireplace. And it features a mid-sized room called a chapel, which probably wasn't the best choice of names, but it's a mid-sized room suitable for the forum and other functions. And also additional RE classrooms. And the chapel as a multifunctional room would allow our current library to morph into administrative space.
Mhm.
So if we were to finish out, or when we finish out the plan, build out the campus, uh, it will enhance everything we do.
Right, right. And so that's a good segue to the last question I wanted to ask you about what are your hopes for the future of this campus and the grounds and
Well, I would like to see the campus built out. I mean, it is our master plan. To see it come to completion, it would allow us to do a better job of everything we do, actually. Um, and Sanctuary in particular is much more than just a larger space. a sanctuary by definition is a special place. And this might be getting off the track, but years ago I had the opportunity to go into an ancient temple in the forbidden city of Hue, Vietnam. And when I walked in this dark, quiet, ancient temple, a feeling washed over me of sanctuary. I couldn't explain it, but it was real.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't expect us to achieve that, but I just want to try to state that sanctuary is a special feeling. We had it in our older, small sanctuary. It just wasn't big enough.
Mm-hmm.
So if we do our job right with our new sanctuary, we'll achieve that, and we will have a better Sunday morning experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one more comment. The location of the sanctuary is set by our master plan, but that's all. As far as the configuration of it, that's for the current congregation to decide. If they're going to pay for it, they have the say so.
They have some input.
The look and feel of it.
Okay.
I'm excited about having that come to be.
Well, I know you've met with the facilities planning task force to give our group some of this background, and it's been really helpful for us to know how all of this came about, what are the goals for the future. So before we end the interview, I would like to just give you an opportunity to share any other information you'd like to share with us about coming to this space, how it was to move here, what the atmosphere was like. I know we talked a little bit earlier about furniture, the furniture that was designed for the building. And I can remember when I first started coming here, we sat on folding chairs, and so we're making progress. But
That's
is there
right.
anything else you'd like to share with us?
Well, a couple of thoughts about moving day. It was an exciting day, of course. I thought that Jan had beat the writing assignment to death, but I overheard someone in the parking lot say, "Now, do we go right or left on Robin Hood?"
Oh.
So I said, "No, you cannot overdo the communication." And also, Heidi Ho, our wonderful member from years past, organized a work day during which she had us bring all of our treasures out of the attic and broom the space out. And then she said, "Now, take anything you want back up." Not a single thing went back in the building. So on moving day, we didn't have to deal with all that junk.
Right.
She had us box everything up in individual boxes, which she numbered. And then when we brought them to the new building, she had numbers on each door in the building, so we would deposit that box in the right space.
Well,
That's kind of a fun little
yeah.
piece to remember.
Well, hopefully we'll have another moving day ahead of us.
I'm sure we
Yeah.
will.
Well, thank you again for your time and sharing all your memories and background on this campus.